The eviction notice trembled in Alina Martinez's hands. Bold red letters screamed deadline dates she couldn't meet. 21 years old, drowning in debt from her father's cancer treatment. The chemo saved his life, but swallowed their world whole. Her phone buzzed. Hospital billing. Again. She declined the call, staring at the cracked screen until it went dark. Mija? Her father's voice drifted through the thin apartment door, weak but alive. That was enough. It had to be enough. She wiped her eyes and stepped inside their cramped one-bedroom. I'm home, Papa. He sat on the couch that doubled as her bed, his smile genuine despite the hollowness in his cheeks. How was work? Good. The lie tasted bitter. The bookstore paid pennies, nothing close to what they owed. That evening, as streetlights flickered on and shadows stretched long across the pavement, a black car glided to a stop beside her. The window lowered. A woman with silver hair and a face carved from expensive decisions looked out. Alina Martinez? Every instinct screamed run. Who's asking? Victoria Sterling. I have a proposition that could solve your problems. I'm not interested in loans. Not a loan? Victoria's smile was sharp, practiced. A marriage contract. 1 year of your life. Complete financial freedom in return. The words punched the air from Alina's lungs. You want me to sell myself? I want to offer you a business arrangement. My client needs a wife. You need money. It's clean, legal. 1 year, then you walk away wealthy enough to never worry again. Victoria extended a cream business card through the window. Gold lettering caught the streetlight. Think about it. Your father's bills, the eviction, your future, all of it could disappear. The car pulled away, leaving Alina standing alone with the card burning in her palm. That night, she watched her father sleep. His chest rose and fell, steady now, cancer-free. But the financial wreckage remained, threatening to bury them both. She thought about the mysterious client. What kind of man bought a wife? The question should have disgusted her. Instead, desperation made it sound almost reasonable. By dawn, she'd made her choice. She dialed the number. Victoria Sterling. It's Alina Martinez. Her voice didn't shake. I want to hear the offer. The law office towered above the street, all glass and marble and money. Alina's best dress felt threadbare under the crystal chandeliers. She checked the time. Noon exactly. Victoria had arranged this meeting to introduce her to him before any papers were signed. Miss Martinez. The voice was deep, measured. She looked up. He was nothing like she'd imagined. Tall, dark-haired, with green eyes that held too many secrets. His suit probably cost more than her car, but his expression caught her attention most. Guarded, almost haunted. Alexander Stone. He extended his hand. Call me Alex. Alina. His handshake was firm, brief, like he didn't trust touch. They were led into a private conference room. Victoria waited with 3 lawyers in expensive suits. A leather-bound contract sat on the table like a sentencing document. The terms are straightforward, Victoria began. 1 year of marriage beginning next week. You'll live in Alexander's penthouse, attend social functions, maintain the appearance of a happy marriage. Alina glanced at Alex. He sat rigid, face unreadable. In return, Victoria continued, all your debts will be cleared. Your father's medical bills, your student loans, the eviction, everything. You'll also receive a monthly allowance of $50,000 and a $2 million payout when the year ends. The numbers didn't feel real. Alina's mouth went dry. Why? Victoria looked at Alex. He didn't move. Because Alexander needs a wife to secure his inheritance and repair his public image. And you need a way out. Alina turned to Alex. What happened to your image? His jaw tightened. For a moment, she thought he wouldn't answer. My ex-fiancé sold a story to the press. Said I was cold, controlling, emotionally abusive. His voice was flat, but something flickered in his eyes. Pain, maybe, or rage. None of it was true, but the damage was done. My company's investors are nervous. My family's trust fund has conditions. One of them is marriage by my 30th birthday. That's in 6 months. So you're buying a wife to save your reputation and your money? Yes. No apology. No shame. Alina looked down at the contract. At the dollar amounts that could save her father. At the escape hatch from a life of drowning. I have conditions too, she said. Alex leaned forward slightly. Name them. Separate bedrooms. No physical expectations. This is business only. Something unreadable crossed his face. Agreed. And if I'm going to pretend to be your wife, I need to know who you really are. Not the media version. The truth. Alex stood abruptly. The lawyers shifted. Victoria's expression tightened. He walked to the window, hands in his pockets, staring down at the city below. I don't do emotions well, Alina. I don't do vulnerability. My father taught me that caring about people only gives them power to destroy you. So I stopped caring. He turned back to her. You want the truth? I'm exactly what my ex said I was. Cold, distant, impossible to love. But I'm not cruel. And I keep my promises. The room fell silent. Alina stood, walked to the table, and picked up the pen. Then let's make a promise to each other. She signed her name. Alex watched her for a long moment, something shifting behind his eyes. Then he signed too. We're getting married in 6 days, Victoria announced. Small ceremony, immediate family only. Then the performance begins. As Alina left the building, contract in hand, one thought burned through her mind. She'd just sold a year of her life to a man who admitted he couldn't love. What had she done? The courthouse wedding was sterile. White walls, fluorescent lights. A judge who'd performed 1,000 identical ceremonies. Alina wore a simple cream dress Victoria had bought for her. Alex stood beside her in a dark suit, his face carved from stone. Do you, Alexander Stone, take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife? I do, no emotion. Just 2 words that sealed their arrangement. Do you, Alina Martinez, take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband? She looked at Alex. His green eyes met hers, unreadable. She thought of her father, cancer-free but buried in bills. Of the eviction notice that would never come now. Of the choice that wasn't really a choice. I do. The judge smiled. You may kiss the bride, Alex hesitated. Then he leaned in, his lips brushing hers so briefly it barely counted as a kiss. But his hand on her waist trembled just for a second. Just enough for her to notice. Her father hugged her afterward, tears streaming down his weathered face. You're going to be happy, mija. I can feel it. She didn't tell him this was business. Let him have his joy. The penthouse was obscene. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Marble floors. Art that probably cost more than most people's houses. Alina stood in the entryway, her single suitcase pathetic against the grandeur. Your room is down that hall. Alex gestured left. Mine is to the right. There's a housekeeper who comes Mondays and Thursdays. Cook prepares dinner unless I tell her otherwise. You have access to everything except my office. Thank you. He started to walk away, then stopped. Victoria arranged a charity gala for tomorrow night. Our first public appearance. Dress will be delivered in the morning. Alex. Her voice made him turn. Why did your ex-fiancé really leave? His expression hardened. Because I proposed to her after my father's funeral. She said I used her to avoid feeling anything real. That I kept her at arm's length for 2 years and expected her to be grateful for scraps of attention. He paused. She wasn't wrong. Then why didn't you change? Because changing means breaking. And I learned a long time ago that broken things don't survive in my world. He disappeared into his wing of the penthouse, leaving Alina alone in the vast, empty space. The gala was overwhelming. Crystal chandeliers, champagne towers, women in gowns that cost more than cars. Alina's dress was midnight blue, elegant, but she felt like an imposter. Alex's hand rested on the small of her back, guiding her through the crowd. To anyone watching, they looked perfect. The powerful CEO and his beautiful new wife. Alexander, darling. A woman materialized from the crowd, blonde and stunning, her smile venomous. I heard you got married. How sudden! Alex's entire body tensed. Catherine, the ex-fiancé. Alina felt it in the way the air changed, became sharp and dangerous. And you must be the new Mrs. Stone. Catherine's eyes raked over Alina, assessing, dismissing. How romantic. A whirlwind wedding after knowing each other for what? A week? 6 days, actually, Alina said, keeping her voice steady. Catherine laughed, cold and sharp. Well, good luck. You'll need it. Alexander goes through women like he goes through business deals. Efficient, emotionless, and always on his terms. That's enough. Alex's voice was ice. Is it? Catherine stepped closer. Did he tell you why I left? Did he mention how he proposed at his father's funeral? How he said we should get married like he was suggesting a merger? No ring, no romance, just cold calculation. Alina felt Alex's hand tighten on her waist. She could walk away, let him handle his past, but something in his rigid posture, in the carefully blank expression he wore like armor, made her stay. He told me everything, Alina said quietly, about the proposal, about what you said, and you're right. He's not romantic, he's not easy, but he's honest, which is more than I can say for someone who sells private stories to the press. Catherine's smile faltered. You don't know what you're talking about, don't I? You wanted him to be someone he wasn't, and when he couldn't perform the way you wanted, you tried to destroy him. Alina took a breath. That says more about you than it does about him. For a moment, Catherine looked genuinely shocked. Then her face twisted with rage. You have no idea what you've gotten yourself into. He'll ruin you, just like he ruins everything he touches. She disappeared into the crowd. Alina felt Alex's hand tremble against her back. She turned to face him. You didn't have to do that, he said. Yes, I did. We're married. Even if it's fake, I won't let people attack you. Something shifted in his eyes. Confusion, maybe, or the beginning of something else. Dance with me. It wasn't a question. He led her onto the floor, one hand on her waist, the other holding hers. They moved together, and for the first time, Alina felt him relax slightly, his guard lowering by inches. My father died of a heart attack in his office, Alex said quietly. I found him. Catherine was there that night at the funeral. I was numb, empty. I thought if I gave her what she wanted, a proposal, a future, maybe I could feel something again. But I couldn't. And she was right to leave. But wrong to hurt you for it. He looked down at her, and she saw it, the crack in his armor. Small, but there. You're not what I expected, Alina. Neither are you. The music swelled. They danced. And in that moment, with the lights and the crowd and the weight of their fake marriage pressing down, something real sparked between them. 3 months passed. They fell into a rhythm. Breakfast together before Alex left for his company, dinners when his schedule allowed, public appearances where they played the perfect couple, and slowly, carefully, they became something close to friends. But Alina felt it. The way his gaze lingered sometimes, the way his hand found hers without thinking, the way he listened when she talked about her father, about her dreams of going back to school. She was falling for him. And that wasn't part of the contract. One night, after a particularly difficult board meeting that left Alex tense and angry, they shared wine on the balcony overlooking the city. Tell me something real, Alina said. Something you've never told anyone. Alex was quiet for a long time. Then, I'm terrified of ending up like my father. He died alone in his office, surrounded by money and power and absolutely nothing that mattered. He had 3 ex-wives, 2 estranged sons, and a company that consumed his entire life. And I'm walking the exact same path. You don't have to, don't I? He looked at her. I'm 30 years old and I bought a wife to secure an inheritance. That's not exactly breaking the pattern. You're also 30 years old and learning to let someone in. That's different. He set down his wine glass and turned to face her fully. Alina, this arrangement, it has an expiration date. 8 more months, and then you're free. You get your money and your life back. But I need you to know something. Her heart hammered. What? I don't want you to go. The words hung between them, dangerous and electric. Alex, we agreed this was business. I know what we agreed. He stepped closer. And I know I'm not supposed to feel anything, but I do. And it terrifies me. Don't do this, she whispered. Don't make this complicated. It's already complicated. His hand reached up, fingers brushing her cheek. Tell me you don't feel it too. She couldn't. Because she did. God help her, she did. He kissed her. Not the brief, obligatory kiss from their wedding. This was desperate, searching, real. His hands tangled in her hair. She pressed against him, feeling his heart pound against hers. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, he rested his forehead against hers. Stay tonight, he said. Not in your room? With me? Alex, I know. His thumb traced her lower lip. We'll go slow. I promise. She should have said no. Should have remembered the contract, the timeline, the inevitable end. But she was drowning in him. In the possibility of something real emerging from their carefully constructed lie. Yes. He lifted her, carrying her through the penthouse to his room. They undressed slowly, carefully. His touch was reverent, gentle in a way she'd never imagined he could be. Afterward, lying in his arms with the city lights painting patterns on the ceiling, she felt him press a kiss to her hair. Thank you, he whispered. For what? For making me feel again. She fell asleep believing they could make this work. That maybe love could bloom from a business deal. She didn't see the file on his desk in the office she wasn't allowed to enter. The one marked contract extension clause, pregnancy provision. She didn't know what was coming. The pregnancy test sat on the bathroom counter, 2 pink lines screaming truth she wasn't ready to face. Alina's hands shook. 4 months into the marriage, 4 months of falling deeper into something that was supposed to be temporary. She'd been sleeping in Alex's room for 2 months now. They'd stopped pretending this was just business. His walls had come down, piece by careful piece. He laughed now, smiled, held her like she was something precious. But this changed everything. She walked into the living room where Alex was reviewing contracts. He looked up, and his expression immediately shifted. What's wrong? She handed him the test. He stared at it for what felt like hours. Then he set it down carefully, his face unreadable. How long have you known? 10 minutes, her voice cracked. Alex, I'm sorry. We were careful, but don't apologize. He stood, ran a hand through his hair. This is my responsibility, too. What do we do? He was quiet. Too quiet. Then, there's something I need to show you. He led her to his office, the one room she'd never entered. Unlocked a drawer and pulled out a file. Handed it to her. She read the first page and felt her world tilt. Contract extension clause. Pregnancy provision. In the event of pregnancy resulting from the marriage arrangement, the contract shall be extended indefinitely. The wife shall remain in the marriage until the child reaches legal adulthood. Compensation shall increase to... She looked up at him, her vision blurring. What is this? A clause Victoria insisted on. In case this exact situation happened. You knew. You knew this could trap me here and you didn't tell me. Alina, did you plan this? The words ripped from her throat. Did you get me pregnant on purpose to keep me locked in this marriage? His face went pale. No, God, no. I would never... Then why didn't you tell me about this clause? She threw the file at him, papers scattering. We've been sleeping together for 2 months and you never once thought to mention that getting pregnant would destroy the expiration date? Because I forgot it existed. His voice rose. Because I stopped thinking of this as a contract the day I kissed you. Because I fell in love with you and none of the business terms mattered anymore. The room went silent. You fell in love with me, she repeated, her voice hollow. Yes. And you thought keeping secrets was the way to show that? I didn't keep it secret. I forgot about it. There's a difference. Is there? She grabbed her phone, scrolling frantically. How convenient. You fall in love, conveniently forget to mention a clause that would trap me here, and now I'm pregnant. Tell me, Alex, how is that different from your father's calculated business moves? His face went white. Don't compare me to him. Why not? You're doing exactly what he would have done, controlling the situation, making sure you get what you want regardless of what it costs someone else. That's not fair. Fair? She laughed, bitter and sharp. You want to talk about fair? I sold a year of my life to save my father. 1 year, not 18 years. Not my entire future. But now I'm trapped because of a clause you forgot to mention. You're not trapped. We'll figure this out. How? The contract is legally binding. Victoria made sure of that. She felt tears burning. Unless I'm willing to give up my child, I'm stuck here. With you, forever. Alex stepped toward her. Would that really be so terrible? Being stuck with me? Yes, the word came out broken. Because I fell in love with someone I thought was real. But this secret clause, it makes me wonder if any of it was real. If you were just playing a longer game than I realized. Everything between us is real. Alina, I swear. I don't know what's real anymore. She walked out of his office, Out of the penthouse, her phone clutched in her shaking hand. She needed air. Space. Anything to make sense of the betrayal burning through her chest. She called Victoria. They met at a coffee shop, neutral territory. Victoria looked as polished as ever, but there was something calculating in her eyes. "I assume this is about the pregnancy clause," Victoria said. You knew this could happen, and you designed the contract to trap me." "I designed the contract to protect Alexander's interests, as is my job. I'm a person, not a business asset." Victoria sipped her coffee. "You became a business asset the moment you signed that contract. Did you really think this was a fairy tale? That a billionaire would marry a broke college dropout out of the goodness of his heart?" The words stung because they were partially true. Alina had let herself believe in the fairy tale, in the possibility of real love. "There has to be a way out," Alina said. "There's always a way out." Victoria pulled out another document. Termination clause. You can void the marriage, but you forfeit all compensation. That includes the money already paid, the debts already cleared. You'll owe Alexander approximately $8 million. Plus, you'll owe the hospital for your father's treatment. They were kind enough to forgive the debt as a courtesy to Alexander. That courtesy ends if you leave. Alina felt the trap close around her. "You planned this." "I planned for contingencies. It's what I do." Victoria leaned forward. "But here's what you're not considering. Alexander loves you. Genuinely. I've known him for 15 years, and I've never seen him like this. He's terrified right now, convinced you'll leave him. Maybe you should ask yourself why you're so eager to run instead of fighting for what you have." "Because what I have is built on lies." "No. What you have is built on a contract that evolved into something real. The clause exists, yes, but Alexander didn't trap you. Biology did. The question is, what are you going to do about it?" Alina stood, her legs unsteady. "I need time. Time is one thing you have plenty of now. 18 years to be exact." Alina went to her father's apartment. He was sitting in his favorite chair, reading, the picture of health. The sight of him, alive and well, made her throat tight. "Mija," he smiled. "What a wonderful surprise." She collapsed onto the couch and told him everything. The contract, the pregnancy, the clause. Her father listened without interruption, his expression growing more serious. When she finished, he was quiet for a long time. "Do you love him?" he finally asked. "Yes, but I don't trust him anymore." "Love without trust is torture." He reached over and took her hand. "But I know something about second chances, Mija. The cancer taught me that, and I see the way he looks at you at those dinners you invite me to. That man is terrified of losing you. He should have told me about the clause." "Yes, he should have. But people make mistakes, especially when they're scared. The question isn't whether he's perfect, it's whether he's worth fighting for. What if I can't forgive him? Then you leave, and I'll support you, even if it means the debt comes back. We survived worse. We'll survive again." He squeezed her hand. "But don't run because you're scared. Run only if you're sure he's not the man you thought he was." She returned to the penthouse late that night. Alex was sitting in the dark living room, still dressed in his work clothes, his head in his hands. He looked up when she entered. His eyes were red. "I thought you weren't coming back," he said. "I almost didn't." He stood slowly, keeping his distance. "I can't lose you, Alina, but I won't force you to stay either. If you want out, I'll find a way. I'll pay your debts myself. I'll make sure your father is taken care of. Just please don't think I trapped you on purpose." "Why didn't you tell me about the clause?" "Because I'm an idiot who compartmentalizes everything. The contract lived in one part of my brain. What we became lived in another. I genuinely forgot the clause existed until today, when I remembered we'd need to handle legal logistics for the pregnancy." He took a shaky breath. "But I understand why you don't believe me. I've given you every reason not to trust me." "Yes, you have. Tell me how to fix this." "I don't know if you can." She wrapped her arms around herself. "I need time, Alex. I need to figure out if I can forgive this." "How much time?" "I don't know." He nodded, his jaw tight. "I'll sleep in the guest room. Give you space. Whatever you need." "Thank you." He started to leave, then turned back. "For what it's worth, finding out you're pregnant was the best news I've ever gotten. Not because of the contract, but because it means I get to build a family with you. Something I never thought I'd want. Something I never thought I deserved." His voice cracked. "I love you, Alina, and I'll spend the rest of my life proving that if you'll let me." He disappeared into the guest wing. Alina stood alone in the vast empty penthouse, one hand on her still flat stomach, and wondered if love was ever enough to overcome betrayal. 2 weeks passed in painful silence. They lived like strangers in the same house. Alex left for work before dawn, returned after dark. Alina spent her days researching pregnancy, calling lawyers, trying to find a loophole that didn't exist. The contract was ironclad. Her morning sickness was brutal. She'd wake at 5 a.m., stumbling to the bathroom, retching until nothing was left. She tried to be quiet, but one morning she heard a soft knock. "Alina?" Alex's voice through the door. "Can I come in?" "No." But he came in anyway, kneeling beside her, holding her hair back. His hand rubbed gentle circles on her back. "You don't have to do this," she said weakly. "Yes, I do." When the worst passed, he handed her a glass of water and a damp cloth. His eyes were shadowed with exhaustion and worry. "Have you been sleeping?" she asked. "Not much." He sat on the bathroom floor beside her. "I keep thinking about what I'd do if you left. And the answer is I don't know. You're the only good thing in my life, and I destroyed it." "You didn't destroy it. You just broke my trust. Isn't that the same thing?" She didn't answer. A week later, Victoria called her with news that changed everything. "There's been a development," Victoria said, her voice tight. "Alexander's brother, Marcus, is contesting the will. He claims the marriage is fraudulent. He has evidence suggesting it was a business arrangement, not a real marriage." Alina's blood ran cold. "What kind of evidence?" "Emails between me and Alexander discussing contract terms. Photos from before the wedding showing you two didn't know each other. He's building a case that could invalidate the entire arrangement." "What happens if he wins?" "Alexander loses his inheritance. The company goes to Marcus, who will destroy it within a year. And your debts become active again. All of them." "When is the hearing?" 3 weeks. "And Alina, if you testify that the marriage is fake, it's over. Everything falls apart." "What if I testify that it's real?" Victoria was quiet. "Then you'd be perjuring yourself. Unless the marriage became real at some point. Unless what started as business evolved into something genuine." After the call ended, Alina found Alex in his office, staring at his computer screen without seeing it. "Victoria told me about Marcus," she said. "He didn't turn around. He's going to win. He has evidence. Testimony from staff members who know we had separate bedrooms for the first 3 months. Records of the contract negotiations. It's over. Not if I testify that we fell in love." Now he turned, his expression anguished. "I can't ask you to lie for me." "Who says it would be a lie?" She stepped into the office. "We did fall in love, Alex. Somewhere between the contract signing and now, this became real. At least for me." "Alina, let me finish." She moved closer. "Yes, you hurt me. Yes, I'm still angry about the clause, but I've spent 2 weeks trying to imagine my life without you, and I can't. I don't want to. So either we're both idiots, or this marriage became real somewhere along the way." His eyes searched hers. "You'd testify for me? Even after everything?" "I'd testify for us, for this baby, for the chance at a real marriage, not a contractual one." He stood, crossing the space between them in 2 strides. His hands cupped her face like she was something fragile and infinitely precious. "I don't deserve you. Probably not. But you're stuck with me anyway." He kissed her, desperate and grateful and real. When they broke apart, he rested his forehead against hers. "I'll make this right, Alina, I swear. I'll destroy that pregnancy clause. We'll rewrite the contract. You'll have your freedom back." "I don't want my freedom back. I want us. The real version." The hearing was brutal. Marcus's lawyer tore into their relationship, presenting evidence of the contract, of their business arrangement, of the calculated nature of their marriage. "Isn't it true, Mrs. Stone, that you married my client for money?" Alina sat in the witness box, her hand instinctively going to her small baby bump. "Yes." The courtroom erupted. Alex's face went pale. His lawyer looked panicked. "That's initially why I married him," Alina continued, her voice steady. "I was drowning in debt. My father was dying. Alexander offered me a way out, and I took it. It was business." "So this marriage is fraudulent," Marcus's lawyer said triumphantly. I said it was business. I didn't say it stayed that way. She looked directly at Alex. I married him for money, but I fell in love with him because of who he is. The man who holds my hair when I'm sick, who listens when I talk about dreams I've forgotten how to dream, who's terrified of becoming his father but fights every day to be different. She turned back to the lawyer. You can call that fraudulent if you want, but I call it real. We started as a transaction and became a marriage. Maybe that's not traditional, but it's ours. The lawyer tried to tear her testimony apart, but she held firm. So did Alex when it was his turn. Did you love your wife when you married her? The lawyer demanded. No, Alex said. I didn't know what love was. My father made sure of that, but Alina taught me. She broke through walls I didn't even know I'd built, and now I can't imagine existing without her. The judge took 2 days to deliberate. When he returned, his expression was unreadable. This court finds that while the marriage began as a contractual arrangement, the evidence suggests it evolved into a genuine relationship. The marriage is valid. Alexander Stone retains his inheritance. Marcus's face twisted with rage. As they left the courtroom, he cornered them in the hallway. You think you've won? He snarled at Alex. You're going to fail, just like Father said you would. You're weak, emotional, everything he despised. Good, Alex said quietly. I'd rather be weak and loved than strong and alone like he was. Marcus stormed off. Alina took Alex's hand. You okay? More than okay. He pulled her close. Thank you for fighting for us. That night they lay in bed together, her head on his chest, his hand on her stomach. I had my lawyer draw up new papers, Alex said. No pregnancy clause, no contract extension. When you want to leave, you can. No penalties, no debts. You're free. She lifted her head to look at him. What if I don't want to leave? Then you stay because you choose to, not because a contract forces you. She pressed a kiss to his chest, right over his heart. I choose you, Alex, every day. Contract or no contract. His arms tightened around her. For the first time since the pregnancy revelation, she felt the tension leave his body. I love you, he whispered. I'll spend the rest of my life proving it. I know you will. But peace never lasted long. 3 days later, Alina was at her father's apartment when her phone rang. Unknown number. Mrs. Stone? A woman's voice, professional and cold. Yes? This is Dr. Reeves from Manhattan General. Your father was brought in 20 minutes ago. Heart attack. You need to come now. The world tilted. Alina's keys fell from her shaking hands. Is he alive? He's in surgery. That's all I can tell you. She called Alex. He met her at the hospital, finding her pacing in the surgical waiting room, tears streaming down her face. He can't die, she sobbed into Alex's chest. I saved him once. I can't lose him now. You won't, he's strong. He'll fight. But 4 hours later, the surgeon emerged with an expression that made Alina's knees buckle. I'm sorry. We did everything we could. The damage was too extensive. He didn't make it. The sound that came from Alina wasn't human. It was grief incarnate, ripping from her chest. Alex caught her as she collapsed, holding her together while she shattered. At the funeral, she stood in the rain, watching them lower her father into the ground. The man she'd sold a year of her life to save. Gone. It wasn't supposed to end like this, she whispered. Alex stood beside her, an umbrella shielding them both. I know. I gave up everything to save him. And he died anyway. You gave him time, Alina. 2 years he wouldn't have had. That matters, does it? She turned to him, her eyes hollow. I married you for money to save his life. And now he's dead. What was the point of any of it? Alex's face crumpled. The point is you loved him enough to try. That's not nothing. She wanted to believe him, but standing in the rain beside her father's grave, all she felt was emptiness. That night she lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Alex came in quietly, sitting on the edge of the mattress. Talk to me, he said. Please. I keep thinking about the contract. How I sold myself to save him. And it didn't even work in the end. It did work. You saved him from cancer. You can't save someone from everything. But I tried, and I lost myself in the process. She finally looked at him. I don't know who I am anymore, Alex. The girl who signed that contract doesn't exist. And the woman I've become, I don't recognize her. Then let's figure it out together. What if I can't? What if this grief is too big? What if I can't be the wife you need or the mother this baby deserves? Then we'll take it one day at a time. 1 hour at a time if we have to. He took her hand. You're not alone in this. You have me. For better or worse, remember? Those vows weren't real. They are now. He pressed her hand to his heart. Feel that? It beats for you, only you. The contract is gone, Alina. This is real. We're real. She wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to. But in the darkness, with her father's funeral fresh in her mind and a baby growing inside her, all she could think was that love built on transactions always had a price, and she was terrified they hadn't finished paying it yet. 3 months after her father's death, Alina stood in the nursery, painting the walls a soft sage green. Her belly was round now, impossible to hide. The baby kicked constantly, as if reminding her she was still here, still alive, still responsible for another life. Alex found her there, paintbrush in hand, tears streaming down her face. Alina, he gently took the brush. You're supposed to be resting. I can't rest. Every time I stop moving, I feel it. The grief. It's swallowing me whole. He pulled her close, careful of her belly. Then let it. Stop fighting it. Let it consume you. And I'll be right here, holding you together until you can stand again. What if I can't stand again? Then I'll carry you, for as long as it takes. She broke, sobbing into his chest. He held her through it, whispering things she couldn't hear, his hand rubbing circles on her back. When the storm passed, she pulled back, exhausted. I need to tell you something, she said, and I need you to listen without trying to fix it. Okay. I resent this baby sometimes. The confession burned. I look at my stomach and I think about how everything happened because of the pregnancy. The claws, the trapped feeling, and I hate myself for resenting an innocent child. But I can't help it. Alex was quiet for a long moment. Then, I resent my father sometimes. Even though he's dead, even though I know he did the best he could with the emotional range of a rock. Resentment doesn't make you a bad person, Alina. It makes you human. But what kind of mother resents her own baby? The kind who's grieving and scared and trying to survive an impossible situation. You're allowed to have complicated feelings. It doesn't mean you won't love this child when they arrive. She wanted to believe him, but doubt was a persistent demon. A week later, Victoria appeared at the penthouse. She looked older somehow, tired in a way Alina had never seen. I need to tell you both something, Victoria said, and you're going to hate me for it. They sat in the living room, Alex's hand finding Alina's instinctively. The pregnancy clause, Victoria began. Alexander didn't forget about it. I never told him it existed. The room went silent. What? Alex's voice was dangerously quiet. Your father added it without your knowledge, 3 days before the contract was finalized. He wanted to ensure the marriage would produce an heir. I was instructed never to disclose it to you. Alina felt her world shift again. But Alex found the file. He showed it to me. Because I left it where he'd find it. After you became pregnant, I knew it would surface eventually during legal processing. I thought it would be better if he discovered it himself than if I revealed my role. Victoria's mask cracked. I was wrong. And I'm sorry. To both of you. Alex stood slowly, his face white with rage. You let me think I'd forgotten. Let Alina think I'd kept it secret. You watched our marriage nearly fall apart and said nothing. I was following your father's instructions. My father is dead. Alex's voice shook. And you're fired. Get out. Alex, Victoria started. Now, Victoria left without another word. When the door closed, Alex turned to Alina, his eyes bright with unshed tears. I didn't know. I swear to God I didn't know. I believe you. And she did. The relief was overwhelming. Your father did this, not you. He controlled me even from the grave. Alex's laugh was bitter. How do I fight a ghost? By being different. By choosing love over control. By being the father to our child that he never was to you. Alex pulled her close. I'm terrified of that. Of being a father. What if I'm like him? You won't be. Because you're already asking the question. He never did. The baby arrived on a cold February morning. 16 hours of labor that left Alina exhausted and terrified and more alive than she'd ever felt. When the nurse placed their daughter in her arms, tiny and perfect and screaming, something fundamental shifted in her chest. "She has your eyes," Alex whispered, his finger tracing their daughter's impossibly small hand. "And your stubborn chin?" Alina smiled through tears. "What should we name her?" "I was thinking Elena, after your father." The grief hit fresh and sharp, but different now. Bittersweet instead of just bitter. He would have loved that. He would have loved her. Alex kissed Alina's forehead. "Thank you. For her, for us, for not giving up when you had every reason to. Thank you for making it worth staying." That night, while Elena slept in the hospital bassinet, Alex pulled out a small velvet box. "I know we're already married," he said, "but I want to do this right. No contracts, no clauses, no business arrangements." He opened the box, revealing a simple diamond ring. "Alina Martinez stone, will you marry me again? For real this time. Forever." She looked at the ring, at the man who'd started as a transaction and become her everything, at their sleeping daughter who was proof that something beautiful could bloom from broken beginnings. Yes, 1,000 times yes. He slid the ring onto her finger beside the original wedding band. Then he kissed her, soft and reverent and full of promises. 6 months later, they stood on a beach at sunset, bare feet in the sand, Elena in Alex's arms, and renewed their vows before their closest friends. No lawyers, no contracts, just love, hard-won and real. "I promise to choose you every day," Alex said, his voice thick with emotion. "To tear down my walls and let you in. To be the man you deserve and the father our daughter needs. Not because a contract says so, but because you're my home." Alina's turn. "I promise to trust you, even when it's hard. To fight for us instead of running. To build a life with you that's messy and complicated and completely ours. Not because I'm trapped, but because there's nowhere else I'd rather be." They exchanged new rings, kissed while the waves crashed, and Elena squealed with delight and the sunset painted the sky in impossible colors. That night, lying in bed in the beach house they'd rented, Elena asleep between them, Alina felt something she hadn't felt in years. Peace. "I was thinking," Alex said quietly. "About the penthouse. It's full of ghosts. My father's expectations. The contract, all of it. What if we sold it? Started fresh somewhere new? Where? Anywhere you want. As long as we're together." She thought about it. About leaving behind the marble floors and the painful memories and the weight of everything that had started there. "Let's find a house," she said. "With a yard for Elena and a room where I can finally finish my degree. Something that's ours, not his." "I love you," Alex whispered. "I don't think I say it enough. You show it every day. That's more important." He kissed their daughter's head, then Alina's. "I never believed in happy endings. But this, us, it's close. It's not an ending," Alina said. "It's just the beginning." And she was right. Years later, standing in the kitchen of their house with the big yard and the rescued dog and the photos covering every wall, watching Alex teach Elena to make pancakes while their son toddles around chasing the cat, Alina thought about the girl who'd signed that contract. She'd been desperate and broke and drowning. She'd sold a year of her life and gotten forever instead. It hadn't been easy. The grief over her father still surfaced sometimes, sharp and unexpected. Alex still struggled with his father's ghost, with the fear of becoming him. They fought. They stumbled. They had to choose each other every single day, but they did choose. Again and again and again, because love wasn't about perfect fairy tales or clean beginnings. It was about two broken people learning to heal together. About a transaction that became a marriage, that became a family, that became a life. About learning that sometimes the best things in life are the ones that start imperfectly and become extraordinary through sheer stubborn choice. Alex caught her watching and smiled, flower in his hair, Elena laughing at something he said. "What are you thinking about?" he called. "Just that I'd do it all again. Every painful, messy, beautiful moment. Even the contract? Especially the contract. It brought me you." He crossed the kitchen, pulled her close despite the flour and the chaos and their children demanding attention. "Best business decision I ever made," he murmured against her lips. "Best year I ever sold," she whispered back. They kissed while Elena made gagging noises, and their son banged a spoon, and the dog barked, and the morning light poured through the windows of their imperfect, beautiful home. And somewhere, Alina liked to think, Her father was smiling, because she hadn't just survived. She'd found a way to live. The end.